no problem. Yeah, I'm Manny Peterson, and I am a senior lead activist with Greenpeace USA, which is a volunteer position within Greenpeace, and I report to the national organizers in our San Francisco office for Greenpeace. Sure. Greenpeace is the largest and most effective international organization dedicated to environmental issues, specifically in forests, climates, toxics. Those are nuclear energy, those types of things. Is heavily focused on. We've been around since the 1970s, and I have a long-standing history and tradition of using nonviolent direct action to encourage change and protect our Earth's natural environment. My specific responsibility is really grassroots organizing here in Minnesota. I personally have been formally involved a year. I've always been a supporter of Greenpeace for many years, but formally became a senior lead activist a year ago. Really, for me, I've always had a belief that everyone needs to volunteer for something. It doesn't matter really what you're volunteering for to me. I believe in a volunteer society, so I think everyone should be volunteering heavily in something, whether that's, homeless issues or victims of assault, volunteering something. Another piece of it is that myself trying to live in a reasonably comfortable way, also at the same time being respectful to the environment and living in a sustainable manner. But the problem is that I can do these little things in my life, perhaps make me feel better about the way I live, but it really doesn't make a change in the outcome. And the only real way for me to make a change in the outcome is to actually become involved. And for me, I've always known about Greenpeace and been a supporter of Greenpeace, and I know that Greenpeace is the most effective organization in making environmental change. And so that's why I decided to join Greenpeace as a senior lead activist. Right now, Greenpeace is always working on a number of different issues concurrently. So we're always working on forests and oceans and climate and all those toxics and all those areas. So because Greenpeace is an international organization, so we're working on these campaigns all across the world in different countries. When it comes specifically to our grassroots side of Greenpeace here in the United States, our grassroots side is right now focused on, we're just finishing up work on mercury as it relates to coal power generation and how those coal plants contribute mercury into our atmosphere, which accumulates in the water we drink, in the soil that we grow our food in. We inhale it into our lungs. It's in our dairy cattle. It's transmittable from a mother to its infant through breast milk. I mean, mercury is terrible stuff. And the Sherco power plant here in Minnesota is just one example where they literally dump 1,000 pounds of mercury into our atmosphere every year. And that's just one of many plants. The second thing we're working on is we're going to be working on a forest campaign coming up here. So right now we're focusing on coal and forests. So Greenpeace has always been working on these issues for decades. We don't, other than the most recent, like the Fukushima disaster in Japan, which is kind of obviously something that we didn't anticipate occurring, and that we jumped on that issue. We've really always been working on nukes. We've always been working on deforestation issues, overfishing of the oceans. So it's not something that we have to choose what we're going to work on. We always have what we call campaigners working in these areas all the time across the world. Now, when it comes to the work I do on the grassroots side of Greenpeace here in the United States, is there is someone or a group of people who decide what they want the grassroots team to be working on, all of those campaigns that Greenpeace is involved with. I don't specifically know what their process is for deciding that. I imagine that's based on where the most need is. And we're also opportunistic in the fact that, if it's cold, if the EPA is holding hearings in various cities, then we're going to work on coal during that time while the hearings are going on. So there are things that are occurring that may make us decide to have a grassroots team focus on something. Oh, major feats. There's a lot of them, and it depends where you're looking. But I think, for me, I was heavily involved in the Costco Sustainable Seafood campaign, and a recent announcement from Costco was they have decided to go sustainable on their seafood sourcing. So that was a huge win. There's also a coal plant in Salem that is going to be shut down as a result of years of work by Greenpeace to get it shut down. I understand that there's a nuclear power plant in Germany that is also going to be shut down as a result of Greenpeace. So there's various wins going on all the time around the globe. Good question. The reason for that is pretty. This is in my opinion. This is in Greenpeace's opinion. America is a consumer society. There's a lot of wealth here. People enjoy their lifestyles with their 1 acre yards and 3,000 square foot houses. They enjoy driving their SUVs around. They like having boats and watercraft they can take out in the lakes and the rivers, and I think in the United States, the reason why we lack the support that exists elsewhere in the world is because people really don't want to give that up. They see Greenpeace's work as a front to their lifestyle, and I think and there's also an element of conservatism here in the United States that doesn't. It's not as strong elsewhere in the world, which I think is like linked to that lifestyle piece. But I think it comes down to individual self-interest in the United States and selfishness that just doesn't exist as much elsewhere in the world. Yes and no. It is absolutely imperative that people get involved now. I do not anticipate there is any sort of impending doom or end in sight. Our destruction of our environment is gradual, and it's going to occur over decades, if not over hundreds of years. That's part of the problem, is because it is a slow problem, and the just noticeable difference in the change to our environment is small year over year, and so people don't recognize how we're damaging our environment every day and putting our own health at risk. So no one really, unless something serious happens like the Fukushima disaster, no one is aroused to attention on these issues. And that's why it's important that people don't delay their involvement. If it's something that they're passionate about, something they're interested in, they have the drive to be an activist, that they get involved now, not later. Yep, there's a lot of different ways. For students, the best way is through our Student Activist Network. And our Student Activist Network is made up of just that, students. We also have what's called the Greenpeace semester. That's a semester-long program where they go and get some phenomenal world-class training from Greenpeace on activism, nonviolent direct action, grassroots organizing, all those topics that are important skills in changing the world around us. So those are two ways. But locally, if you really just want to get involved and be a supporter and not necessarily want to even go as far as becoming a student lead activist, is attend one of our Greenpeace meetings here locally. We have a Facebook page for Greenpeace Minnesota. You can join the Facebook page there and find out what upcoming meetings we have. You can participate in some of the local actions and events that we have here. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up in June. So there's going to be some really neat work coming up around forests. So I really suggest that if anyone is interested in becoming a supporter or volunteer at Greenpeace, that they get involved now. And we can help them kind of shape what they want to do for Greenpeace. If they want to be a supporter, there's a lot of opportunity there. If they want to actually become a student lead activist with the Student Activist Network, there's options there as well.